All right, if you've been with us for the 13 years we've been doing this together, you know there's one thing that just wins us over. If you ever say you like us, we fall in love with you pretty quick. We're pretty easy, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're easy to date.
Yeah, and the next guy who's joining us, we've been a big fan of a long, long time. And when he left college football a few years ago, it was devastating to me because I was a Buccaneer fan. But I still cheer for him, even though he's in the same division as my team. But, boy, I'm glad as hell he's back in college football.
It is Coach Matt Rhule, head coach Nebraska Cornhuskers, with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Coach? How are you?
Man, I'm just happy to be here. This is a bucket list item for me now.
A little bit of an oversell from Coach. You can see why you recruit so well. How has it been in Nebraska so far? I mean, growing up, people that are our age, and you're basically our age, Nebraska football was it, man, when we were growing up.
You know, it's been great. I mean, this is really a special place. If I would have known how cool this would be, I probably would have not been so hard in the process, trying to make this deliberation, because this is a great state, great people, and it's a program, with a great athletic director, great university, and I'm fired up to be here.
I went to a game in Lawrence, Kansas years ago, and 90% of the stadium literally was Nebraska fans. I know you've had some great fan bases in your day, but have you ever seen anything like the Nebraska fan?
Oh, no, I haven't. I mean, I went to my first gymnastics meet, and there were 350, 400 people there. I went to, men's and women's basketball games, track meets. I mean, these fans are loyal, and they care about the kids and care about the university. And so I can't wait for the spring game. I can't wait for, next fall, getting out there and third down and having the other team's quarterback not be able to hear. I can't wait to go on the road and turn it into a home game. So I've never experienced anything like this. It's really cool.
When Nick Saban first got to Tuscaloosa, 2 or 3 of my earlier conversations, he talked about how much he loved college football and missed it when he was in the NFL. Did you experience the same thing at any point while you were there in Carolina that you said, dang, man, I missed the college game?
Yeah, I love the college game. It's what I was, my whole life, from a very young age, I wanted to be a Division I college football coach, and had a great experience with the Giants as an assistant O-line coach. So when the chance came, I went and did it. But, I'm wired for this. I'm wired for this age group, these kids, for recruiting. And you know what? I love Saturdays. I love the bands. I love the student sections. I love everything. So when I was in the NFL, I'd spend most of my Saturdays watching college football. And, it's kind of a different game. And it kept me, I think, prepared to come back. And I'm really happy to be back.
Coach Matt Rhule is with us, head coach Nebraska Cornhuskers. You see what you're talking about, like college programs that have that type of passion. They just don't stay down long. The fans just will not accept it. Why is that? I mean, why do you think it is that when you've got the fan base of a Nebraska or an Alabama or a Texas or a USC or whoever, those programs are good when they have that type of support?
Well, I look at it like this. Like, it's one thing to go to a program and try to take it somewhere it's never been. And I've tried that. I've done that at some places. It's another thing to come to a place that's done it before, because you know that it's possible, and that there's an expectation. And so this fan base, I mean, they've seen it. They've hoisted trophies. They've twice they've been back-to-back national champions. And so that's part of the ethos of the state. People grew up seeing that, and so there's not a person in this state that won't do whatever it takes to watch Nebraska get back on top, because they've experienced it. And what that does to the state, what that does to people at work, what that does to your family reunions, man, it just makes everything a little bit better. And so it's a real obligation, a tremendous honor, but also obligation to me to make sure I do it right, because these people deserve it.
Hey, you grew up the son of a pastor. How has that influenced your day-to-day attitude as a head coach?
Well, my dad was so unique in that he was a high school teacher and coach, and also a minister. And so what I learned at an early age is that, the good Lord gives all of us gifts, and he wants us to serve. And so my dad, like my mom and dad right now, they're in Rwanda, they're in Africa working in an orphanage for 3 months. Wow. That's their way of doing it. That's not mine. My way of doing it is, checking breakfast and making sure kids are getting an education. And, I serve with the gifts that I was given. And, when your dad's a pastor, he learns to be out there. He learns to be around people. He knows everyone's name. He's there every day knowing that people have all different kinds of things going on in their life, and he's there to support them. And so people sometimes are surprised. They'll come to a basketball game and see me sitting there, or see me at the women's tennis match, or see me at a restaurant. But I'm not here to be a celebrity. I'm just like my dad. My dad was there to serve the congregation. I'm here to serve Nebraska and be present, be around, be there for the other student athletes. My mom and dad are really special people, and I'm trying to do the best I can to be like them.
My wife's going through Duke Divinity School right now. I can't tell you how many times she looks at me with great disappointment for a variety of reasons. Were you a good kid? Did you ever cause any trouble?
Oh, the old PK.
Oh, I caused a lot of trouble. We're all sinners saved by grace. And so even as an adult, man, it's funny. I always try to tell people, I have a faith and belief system and all that, but that doesn't mean I'm perfect, So I think some of us make the mistake of kind of looking at ourselves and being disappointed in ourselves, But I got in a lot of trouble, man. I was into graffiti and all kinds of things, and I wasn't afraid to throw hands if needed. So I challenged my parents quite a bit.
Street art, I like that. Could you still?
My 7-year-old daughter is getting me back right now. So
Throw hands.
Yeah, but that's different. New York City street art as opposed to, in Lincoln, what is that? Tipping cows? She's gonna run out and tip cows or something?
Whatever it is, she'll find it.
Coach Matt Rhule is with us, head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. You've never, you played at Penn State, obviously, but the Big Ten is new for you coaching, and it's going to be new for USC and UCLA. It feels weird as a fan, I'm being honest with you. How do you think it will feel having them in the conference with you?
Well, I think obviously I'm a traditionalist, right? Like I miss the old conferences that I grew up on. So, but that's not where we are. So it is what it is. I think it's a really good thing for the Big Ten moving forward in that we're kind of like the NFL. We're kind of a national conference that stretches from the West Coast all the way across to the East Coast. For me, it kind of positions us in a good place in that we're in the middle of the country. So, we go out to UCLA and USC. It's not a tremendous, it doesn't tax our bodies too much. We go to the East Coast, it'll be interesting to see what the Penn States and Rutgers and USC and UCLA, the accommodations they have to make going across the country. But, Lincoln Riley's a great coach. Chip Kelly's a great coach. Those programs are up and running. So it'll only make our conference better, as we head into the 12-team playoff era.
So Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday. Everybody's saying Pat Mahomes or Jalen Hurts for MVP. I might take a flyer 41 Hassan Reddick at 40-1. Kid's got 20 sacks. Former walk-on for you guys at Temple. He was a running back and a safety, I think. When did you see a flash knowing Hassan Reddick was going to be a dominant force on the defensive side of the football?
First of all, the credit goes to Hassan because he just got better and better every year. I first took the job. He had already walked on the year before. And Fran Brown, who's the DB coach at Georgia, one of the best coaches in the country, in my opinion. Fran said, "Hey, Coach Rhule, he had played for me. Hey, there's a kid here that was, here last year." And so it was just about getting him in the right position, right? So we tried him at outside. He was a safety. We tried him at outside backer. And then eventually we moved him to edge. It was going into his senior year where he had been a good player, had been all conference the year before, but was like a 7th round pick. And all of a sudden the light went on, that's the one thing in this era now, the transfer portal era, the NIL era, the come out as a 3-year guy era. You remember the old days when a guy would redshirt and kind of his senior year, all of a sudden he become a dominant player. Well, Hassan's one of those throwback guys. And we went out that year and it's just like the light came on and he dominated every game that he's in. And I think I saw that last week, in the conference championship game. It's like he just took over the game, was getting to the quarterback. And I would not be surprised if he did that in the Super Bowl because, here's a kid who walked on from South Jersey, from Philly, he was from there, played at Temple, got drafted in the first round in Philadelphia, has this journey through all these teams. Now he comes back, he's all-pro in Philadelphia, and now he's going to play the Super Bowl for the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised, man. That guy's going to write a storybook ending.
When you started at Temple and then at Baylor, there were rebuilds as well. When you get to Lincoln, is it the same bricks that you lay when you first get there to build the foundation? Is it the same thing, just different locations when you show up at a school for your first few months?
I think it's the same steps. It's getting the right people, coaches, recruits, staff, getting everybody on the same page, having really high standards and trying to build relationships. The difference here is when I got to Temple, they were moving up into the American Conference, so it was a step up in conference. when I went to Baylor, we were coming off a scandal. We had 45 scholarship players or so. We had 3 scholarship offensive linemen, 4 scholarship offensive linemen. We're certainly further ahead here, but it's been several years now of 3 and 4 wins, and so I don't want to minimize that. The thing I'm trying to get our guys to do is what I did at those other places, was just work every day. Like, let's not tweet about how good we're going to be. Let's not talk about bowl games. Let's just show up today and work and kind of be a little old school. And if we do that, these kids love Nebraska. They'll find a way to have success.
I think it surprises a lot of people that Power 5 facilities are better than what you get in the majority of the NFL. I mean, is that true, facility to facility? And I mean, the NFL's got massive amounts of money, but I mean, we've heard that facilities at this campus much better than what you get at this local organization.
Yeah, I would say that's true for a lot of parts, right? A lot of college facilities are better than NFL facilities. Now, some NFL facilities have caught up and done a really nice job, but at the end of the day, they draft and pay their players. Here we recruit our players, and so we put a lot of money into it to induce players to want to come to our campuses. And so, the college facilities. I mean, we would, even when you take your GM on a pro day, they would be sometimes blown away. Like, wow, look how nice this place is. And I think some NFL teams are starting to do that, but not all of them.
Did we get the Reds pretty close on the hat and the Nebraska
Well,
red?
we did, yeah.
It's
I'll
pretty
tell you
close.
what, man. Me and Sad are walking around Lincoln, rocking these hats, feeling pretty good about ourselves. So
And
it looks good with the red shirt.
Let us know if you need more. There's plenty where that came from. We'll send you all you need. All right, 205 days. Am I right? On the way to that first Thursday night against Minnesota.
That is correct. 205, and you got a bunch of fans a bunch of people here cheering for Nebraska.
No doubt.
And if you want to send us Nebraska T-shirts, we'll get those things.
On their way, I promise.
Yeah, we're pulling for you.
Yeah,
we are,
We'd
man.
love to see 10 wins. You avoid Ohio State and Penn State, which is good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to start guaranteeing wins, or that has a way of coming back at me. But I will say this, and I believe this with all my heart. Like, college football is so much better when the Nebraskas, the USCs, the UCLAs are good, Texas's. And so, this is a place that should be really good. And, we're gonna fight, man. We're gonna scratch and claw to get Nebraska relevant again, and I'd put my money on us.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
I can't wait till we do our first show in Lincoln. We're
That's
coming,
right.
man.
We're coming.
Let's
to do a
go.
show.
We're coming.
Thanks, Coach. Take
Appreciate
care.
you guys. Thanks, guys.
Good talking with you. That is Matt Rhule, the head coach of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, with us. For those that don't know the history, our history of Matt Rhule, I'll do it real quick.
It's very random, too.
It is completely random. He mentioned Coach Seth, that is Marcus Satterfield, who was his offensive coordinator. Marcus was a coach at Chattanooga and used to listen to us back in our radio days when he was out recruiting. And he got hired at Baylor with Matt Rhule and introduced him to our show. And Coach Rhule fell in love with our show for whatever reason. He's got horrible taste in shows, I guess. I don't know. But word got back to us through a former intern of ours who worked for the football program at Baylor, a guy named Taylor Bryan, and he was like, hey, Coach Rhule listens to your show every day. And we're like, wow, that's crazy.
Coach Sat and he rode to work
They
together
rode to work
often.
together,
Yeah,
and Coach Sat
carpool.
would have it on, and he's like, who you listen to? Because these are my boys out of Birmingham. They talk a lot of college football. So Coach Rhule started listening to the show. So that's why he's wearing Next Round gear. It's why he's on the show with us, and it's why we're big fans of Matt Rhule.